This is probably about my fourth or fifth time, but actually it's the second show. Uh, I I just want to say that, of course, my the Dice Man is not here. This is work in progress, meaning that we'll add more things to it eventually, music, as we continue to do this. The Dice Man is my consultant engineer now. We have KQ. What up?
Hey.
It's first time doing this, but anyway, um, this is the group Amigos, and of course, I want this to be inclusive for everybody to watch. And so I wanted to tell you guys that I went and saw Mike Epps last night, and I can tell you this is my third or fourth time seeing Michael Epps or Mike Epps. I tell you, I laughed so hard, my chest hurt. I went with my daughter Leah too, and my wife. We went. The three of us went. We had a really, really, really good time. Ticket was kind of expensive, of course. It don't matter, but I enjoyed it. This was the first time that I went. This is my. I expected to take pictures this time, but he's don't do the meet and greet anymore. I guess because of the upshots and other things that he's doing. And I think as they make more money, they become more unaccessible to the public. This past weekend, I went to last weekend. I went to Killeen, Texas, and I can tell you it was a surprise. It was for my daughter Katara. Hey, Katara. And I can tell you that we spent 2 days there, but it's almost as if we were there like a month. But I can tell you we had a great time. We had I pride folks about the best time of my life. I took my daughter Rhea there. Hey Rhea, and I took my son Cody. We call him Cody, but his name is Connor. Connor Hope took him, and of course Carter, the ringleader. He didn't want to go, but he said, "Dad, I'll go next time." But you know what? We had such a wonderful time in Killeen. Dolores, Qatar's mom brought us breakfast that first morning there. We didn't expect that, but she was very, very nice and very hospitable also. And so we had a great time in Killeen, Texas, and went to this place and got barbecue. I didn't, I didn't particularly like the food, but I'm understanding Qatar granddad loves to go there and eat. I think it was Choices, the name of it. That may be wrong, but I can tell you I had a great time. One of the things that we did on our way back is that we went through Dallas. When we went through Dallas, we stopped at Dealey Plaza. For those of you that don't know, Dealey Plaza is where John F. Kennedy was killed on, I think, November the 23rd, 1963, or somewhere around about 22nd, 1963. The alleged killer Lee Harvey Oswald was supposed to be killed at the Texas Books Depository. We went there, it's a museum now. We went in there, we saw the gun, a replica of the gun. My daughter Aria did not know anything about John F. Kennedy. And people, this is what I talk about, but we got to educate our children properly. And it's not just the parents, it's the teachers too. So that's an indictment on Meridian Public School, in my opinion. Or I hear Tuba and say, well, you the parent. Well, that's true, but I'm not. I try to instruct the child on the way in which they should go so that they don't depart from it. And some of you understand that. But again, my son Cody, who's a year younger than her, knew about John F. Kennedy, knew that he was killed. I said, how did you know about that? He said, Dad, he said, Google it. And so my son is inquisitive. And so when he want to know a thing, he didn't Google it then. Because he's on his phone all the time, like me, always doing research. But he knew about John F. Kennedy. But it was a great time. It was it was very educational, and I was there. And so I was 10 years old when he was killed, just turned 10. And I can remember her name was Emma, came around telling us, she was a ninth grader, I think. Anyway, she come around telling us John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy done kicked the bucket. Folks, I didn't even know what kick the bucket meant. So somebody had to tell me it meant killed. He was assassinated. So we spent the rest of the day watching TV, Channel 11, Walter Cronkite. But anyway, they showed that. But folks, I can tell you, if you go and look at that, if you would go to Dealey Plaza and you will look and you can see where Lee Harvey John F. Kennedy was in the limousine. That's the top was off. You could actually see the rifle hole in the front of the car. John F. Kennedy was hit in the throat, and then when he was hit in the throat, he was also shot in the back, and then his head blew off, the kill shot. When he was killed, his brains flew out his head. It was shot from the front. And you could see his wife, Jacqueline Kennedy, climb up on the car. They said with the Zapruder film, climb up on the car and go and retrieve his brain and try to put it back in his head and put it back in. Now she did that. That's being in a shock, state of shock. Also, at the same time, Governor Connolly was killed. There's no way Lee Harvey Oswald killed John F. Kennedy, and so Lee Harvey Oswald was killed. And so my son got to see all that. He got to see the picture. He took pictures, and so that we spent about 2 hours there. We had a very, 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 very good time. And you know what's sad about it that I noticed? I seen people come from all over the world. We talked to some people that the man could not understand English at all, a white person, and he was from France, and his wife spoke French to him because she could understand some English. And of course, we was asking questions, but we spent a little. We stayed there about 2 hours. We had a great time, people. But what I want to let you know is that we are not educating our children properly. Do you know that for me to go to that place, the only it was three black people there. I seen one other black family there, and I was impressed with that. And this man was there with his wife and his children, educating them, letting them see a part of American history, whether or not it's right or it's their history, his story. Because like when you look at the limousine with the front of the windshield blown out, like you can tell that the bullet hole came from there and hit Kennedy, but the Texas depository is behind, behind the limousine to the left. Let me show you can see it. Behind the limousine to the left. I'm using my other hand so you can see. If I'm the limousine, this here is where everything was at, the depository here. And then in the front of the car, you can see up here. Let me go over a little bit. You can see up here where it came in at. So you can obvious that it's a cover up. And then they close everything up for 25 years. And then when the 25 years are extended, then when Donald Trump was president, he said, wait another year. So they still letting things come out. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. I have a right to it. In my opinion, it was a conspiracy between the United States government, perhaps the Chicago mob or the mob, and perhaps maybe, but I don't think any foreign government was involved. I think it was just the American government that did it. One of the things that Kennedy was about to do, he was going to end the Vietnam War. Understand, war is profit. They make a lot of money selling bullets and tanks and bombs and that kind of stuff. And they didn't want that war to end. And of course, when Kennedy, and he was getting ready to end it, when Kennedy was killed, that war went on another 10 years. And look at the money that we're going to say that war profiteers made off that in 10 more years there. And it was just a war that didn't gain anything for the United States, such as what's going on in America today. But I had a great time being with my children. I had a great time in Killeen, Texas. And it was very educational, but it's sad when I look around and I go places like that, I don't see you there. I don't see our children there. One of the things that I noticed after I drove through Marie, looked like professional black people coming from the Riley Center. And I looked at that and I said, there's our problem right there. And then, of course, it made me, before I jumped to a faulty conclusion, I went to other places. And so I started noticing when I go places and I look back in my memory and I think back to the times that I've seen professional people coming from places and doing things. The professional peoples, in my opinion, is part of the problem and part of the solution. When professional peoples are in a position of power and authority, now you're in a position of power and authority when you exercise your right to vote. And most professional people are going to vote. They're going to vote their best interests. And that's where the selfishness come in at. And that's what's wrong with Meridian and a lot of places like Meridian, is that you get people and they get into their emotion, they get emotional as opposed to using their cognitive abilities. That's their thinking abilities. What's right for this community? Let's take color out of it. Let's take party affiliation out of it. Let's take Republican and Democrat out of it. Let's vote for what's right. Boy, even though I don't know whether Two Bell gonna watch this or not, but he's always in my head and in my ear. So I'm finna give him who that's to, bro. You just vote. Did you vote? Yes, I voted. How did you vote? Well, KQ, you voted too, then you KQ. Yeah. I voted for Michael Guest. Yes, I voted for Michael Guest. He didn't need my vote, but he got it. I voted for Michael Guest, and I voted for the marijuana law. not to be sold out in the county. And I'm going to explain my reasoning for voting for Michael Guest. I voted for Michael Guest is because I got to look around. I look around and I look at everything that happened to me and everything that happened to you. And when I say you, I'm talking about you, Black community. Everything you look at the Black community, we're in a state of chaos. We're in a state of disarray. The Black community, not just, and I said the Black community, I ain't just singling out the Black community in Meridian or in Birmingham, Alabama or Bessemer, Alabama. I'm talking about the Black community of America. That's what I'm talking to all of you out there. We're in disarray. We're in disarray because of the kind of thing that happened to Offset. Take off. And I said Offset because Offset, his cousin, was not speaking to him for whatever reason. They were not speaking. So we got to rise up above our little petty arguments because the day might be our last day, or the person we're angry at, it'd be their last day. And so he was crying. He said, I just don't get this. I don't get this. I don't get it either. I lost my daughter. I'm mad as hell. I can say it. I can say it. Whatever the consequences are when I die, let them be. I'm mad as hell about my daughter. I'm mad because if an all-powerful God can do so many things, he can part the Red Sea, he can make the lame walk and the blind see. If my daughter had a drug problem, couldn't he erase the taste out of her mouth? If that nigga jumped on my daughter and beat her to death, couldn't he have made him have a heart attack? Could he have stopped him from breathing? So we talk about free choice, but you're talking about all-powerful God that interfered and did all these things in the Bible. But where are all these things being done now, today, in modern society? So if there's a God, I'm mad as hell at God. I'm just telling y'all, folks. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not going to relent on that because me, I love my children. I love them so much. I love all of you. And I'm so afraid that something's going to happen to either one of you. And it bothers me. I'm like a mother hen hovering over a nest of eggs. I'm like that now. And my children are grown. I love the oldest as much as I love the youngest. I want the oldest to be okay as well as I want the youngest to be okay, so that I can have a good death. I cannot have a good death. We don't control when we're going to die. We don't even control when we're going to live because we're not here because of our own doing. We're here as a result of our mother and father. So no man knows that day or that point in time that he's going to die. Because I extend my condolences to the little LaFleur family and Triple T lost a cousin. So to that family and my family, condolences to all of you. I don't grieve about my uncle. He died of a massive heart attack. What today is on the 10th. He died of a massive heart attack at 8:30 at night, sitting in his car. And so I don't grieve because he lived a good long life. But it bothers me about my daughter. My daughter's death supersedes any other death that I've ever experienced in my life, and I'm going to experience again, except to lose another child. Don't want to lose another child. And so, but I did want to talk about that. And so education is the key, people. We better start educating ourselves and educating our children, and we better start exercising our right to vote. Now, yes, I voted for Michael Guest, and look, and I was talking about the Democrat. Black community, look at yourself. If you have a black mayor, if you have a black governor, black everything, or black chief of police, now hold up now. Let me tell y'all this now before we get started again. I'm not saying anything negative about Chief Young or Mayor Smith. I'm not. I'm very supportive of that administration. And I think he needs the opportunity to implement whatever it is that he's trying to do. I like how the city's looking, and he's doing well by the streets, and he's been there a little over about right at a year and a half. And so I think he deserves another tool belt. See me smiling because you know if it'll say something, probably make some of you mad. Now look, he inherited a lot of mess. He did. He inherited a lot of things. Donald Trump did good initially because he inherited good stuff from the previous administration. Now, Jimmy Smith, then he inherited the mess dealing with me and Lolo from the preceding administration. He inherited this stuff from Lieutenant Jackson and Detective Van. He inherited that from the preceding administration. And he has one thing I like about Jimmy. He's not micromanaging his department heads. He's allowing for his department heads to do their job. That's one thing the previous mayor did not do. And that's enough about that. But I want to look at my notes a little bit because I don't want to kind of like stray too much off subjects. I do want to say this is that we need to be involved more. It saddens me when I go places. When I went to Alabama State, and when I went to Alabama State, I've been to the Martin Luther King Museum, and when I go to the Martin Luther King Museum and places like that, I see more of them than us. How is it that we allow for our history to be told by other people? If you go downtown to Lynn Park in Birmingham, you see white people care more about our history and what's going on with us and keeping our history and our legacy alive than we do. And that has got to change. We got to vote. Folks, you got to vote. Do you realize the power in that just that one little single thing? That's the single most powerful thing that you can do. When you register to vote, that makes they pick the jury pool from voters. And whenever they pick you for jury, go do your duty and sit there and make an informed choice, not based on who looked the best or who sounded the best, but based on the facts. And I want to deviate a little bit and talk about YNW Melly. YNW Melly. And I know I'm looking at my age, but you understand now. Now my wife and KQ is young, and my children are young, and I interact with my family, so I know about their music and what's going on with them. And I know that YNW stands for Young Niggas World. All of them had that YNW above the name. So him and a co-defendant he is being charged with murdering two other friends, and the first part of their name was YMW. Was it Jeezy and Sack?
No, Sack and Juvie.
Sack and Juvie. See, I was close, wasn't a two belt, but Sack and Juvie, man, were killed in their car and all of them together. And they saying that it was a drive-by. I mean, they supposed to have evidence, forensic evidence that put them at the scene. And folks, I got to tell you, when you're talking about taking somebody's life, you need more than you need to have somebody that actually seen that. I'm not with you going and getting somebody's song that they don't wrote about and using that against them as evidence. I'm not with that. I'm not on that part of the law. And I talked about this earlier. The reason why I'm doing this over is because I deleted my earlier tape because I put it on my Eddie Hope channel as opposed to the Reaching Out with Eddie channel where all my subscribers are. So make sure you like this video. You better not dislike it. I need you to like it. But anyway, it's your choice to like it or dislike. But I definitely need you to subscribe. I need you to tell your friends about this to subscribe. And if you have your questions, that I got my little comments on right here. I don't see anybody saying anything. So you can actually send your comments. And anytime you want to send an email, it's reaching out with Eddie at yahoo.com. Do we have a web page?
We do, but it's under construction.
So y'all heard the engineer said KQ said it's under construction, and she's pretty, for her to be young, she's pretty astute when it comes to social media apps and negotiating some social media app, and even I say being a digital like me. Of course, I'm gonna tell you too bad I'm the best. I'm the best at it all. I heard a laugh over there. Anyway, anyways, something I picked up. But we don't make things better, folks, when we don't follow the law. So I said we do need to follow the law. So the law is crucial. So I'm gonna talk about some things, some what if situations that's applicable to everybody that's living. But before we get into that, I've talked about this before, and but I'm gonna talk about it again. We shouldn't determine how long a person should grieve because that's an individual thing and it's based on what that person has lost. I gotta tell y'all this is that now Mike Epps and Henry Welch, boy, did they go head to head. Mike, Henry Welch took your head off. Henry Welch ain't no joke, folks. Hey, you know what I'm gonna do, folks? I'm going, watch to see. I'm going to the Stardome tomorrow. Matter of fact, when I finish this show, I'm going to the Stardome. I'm going to see Henry Welch. I'm going to get his phone number. I'm going to get Henry Welch to come and guest on this podcast. And you guys going to be in for a treat because Henry Welch is a fool and he is so good. He actually has a degree from Alabama State and used to be a school teacher. I've been knowing Henry Welch Wow, since the 80s. I'm just telling you guys the truth. Since the 80s and 90s. That's how long I've known him and Ricky Smiley. One of the things that disappoint me about Ricky Smiley, when Ricky Smiley, he forgot where he came from. And I'm gonna explain this to you. What I mean by that is that people like me that helped him, me, and I helped him. And some of the jokes that he used to become a millionaire, he actually, we gonna say, ciphered those votes from Henry Welch. Henry Welch, Steve Williams also used to be over something out in California. Steve Williams also graduated from Alabama State. And Steve Williams also, I can remember hiring all three of them: Steve Williams, Henry Welch, and Ricky Smiley for $300. The car broke down a little. It's the Jimmy Roger exit now, but probably about a mile up from that. Yep, right up there. I say, you do a turnaround now, like you're gonna go to Butler. The car broke down right there, and I had to go pick them up. I don't know what it was, but I had Jimmy Hobson fix the car and sent them back. I think it was a '73 Chevrolet Impala blue. And folks, this is the truth. And of course, I used to bring Ricky Smiley to Meridian so much. I can remember when he met Doc Graham for the first time. He said, and Doc Graham had a curl. He said, "How you doing, Al Green? Pleased to meet you." I just fell out laughing. My mom just fell out laughing. We was at my mom out there on 9th Avenue, and how Ricky Smiley was in there cracking on Doc Graham. Ricky Smiley was a fool. He was just so funny, but he don't thank people like me, folks. And I can tell you that I ain't always been the person I am. And it's been times that I've done other things in my life, and I ain't proud of that and things like that. But I can say this is that my family know Ricky Smiley very well, but he never said thank you to the whole family. And when I ran for judge the first time and called him up, Ed Hope want to speak to you on the phone. What do you want? He said that he's running for judge, Jessica judge. He won't. I didn't know he had a law degree. Tell him I'll call him back. Folks, I'm still waiting on that phone call. Ricky Smiley forgot where he came from. It was people like me that took money that they could have been spending on their family to push him and put him on shows and things like that. Even though he was telling the same joke over and over and over and over again, it was people like me that helped him made it. But you never, he thank God. He thank his mama. Well, his mom, he supposed to thank his mama because she had him. But he ain't never thanked the people that the grassroots people that was taking him. And it wasn't me, but it was other guys that was doing things, Boy, I tell you, I'm looking at myself. I am so pretty. I am pretty. Who they used to say that all the time, say they so pretty. Red, you see that too, man? I'm so pretty. How y'all doing out there? I know what y'all saying. Ain't pretty. Yeah, 69. Just turned 69. But anyway, let's get off how pretty I am. But anyway, I'm gonna go and see Henry Welch because him and they act a fool. And the Magic City Classic, I wanted to talk about that. Every time I get a chance to talk about the Magic City Classic, folks, I never seen so many black people at one time. Cold early in the morning, but we really enjoyed that. That was Candace, Cody, Carter, and Aria, and myself. We enjoyed it. And the highlight of the show, what was it?
It was the Indianapolis police chief. I guess it's the chief
Yes,
of police
they came all the way from what part?
from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yep, and they was. I mean, it was about 10 in motorcycle. This guy, had to be about seemed like 70 years old, and he was a little pudgy, and he stood up on the motorcycle and with his hands out. I mean, it was really fun. And I can tell you, it's on the reaching out with Eddie Payne. But KQ really missed the cue that time. But folks, the highlight of the show for me was to watch Meridian High School Band come through there. And I gotta tell you, for Meridian High School Band to come all the way to Birmingham, Alabama, it was the only band there from the state of Mississippi that was a high school band. But Meridian High School Band was there, and I can tell you, folks, I had a great time. It was the highlight of the show. We stayed there and watched that, and it made me feel good to see Meridian High School Band come and participate in the parade for the Magic City Classic. Do you realize how early in the morning they had to get up to get there to be in a parade at 8:30 in the morning? That means that they had to be on the road about 6 o'clock in the morning. So for Meridian, I got to commend Meridian Public School, Meridian High School, their principal, their band leaders, and all the band majorette, the drum major. They did their thing, and I really enjoyed that, folks. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing hometown folks come up and let their light shine. And guess who I seen? Reverend Gary Houston, man, I'm telling you, he was the only parent that I saw that was there. Imagine the other children, but he was there. And another person that was, I forgot their name, but he was there. And this was a younger person. You know, a lot of young people know me and I don't know them, and came over and you know, did the fish thing. But Reverend Houston was there, and it was good to see him. It makes you feel good when you're so far away and you see somebody from home come up to you, or either you see them doing something. It makes you feel proud. And so that's one of the things that made me feel proud. But folks, I want to tell you some what if situation. And I told y'all I voted, and I did vote for Michael Guest, a Republican, and I voted for everybody else too. I voted for Charles Wright Bailey, even though they didn't have anyone running for them. I voted for Veldora Young, Judge Graham. I voted for Judge Howell. I voted for Judge Primo, Judge Smith. I voted for everybody. Normally, folks, sometimes I've done write-ins and I write in myself, but I didn't do any write-ins this time. I voted for everybody. And folks, I got to tell you that I think I think everybody should have somebody running against them, but it can mean two things: that when people are not running against them, is that they're doing such an excellent job that people don't run against them. Um, but I just think that if you want to run, but not. But anyway, I voted for everybody, and I did not vote for the marijuana thing. And the reason why I didn't vote for it, because it wasn't going to benefit us. Um, Ain't no black people got any marijuana businesses that I know of in Meridian at all. One of the things they did to ensure that is that the Carter Foundation became the Carter Academy. Now I got to say this to you, James Carter. Your mother and I went to school together, Anna Pearl. I knew your grandmother and your grandfather. I know your whole family, and I have nothing but respect for them, and I still respect you. But you got to explain to me, why would you change your foundation to an academy, folks? Now I'm gonna tell you what the law says. The law says that you cannot sell medical marijuana, grow it, or distribute it within 1,000 feet of a school or a church or daycare. Now they took what they did is, and I can tell you that the Congressional Black Caucus in the state of Mississippi, they went to them Republicans, and I know that because I talked to my representative. They went to them and tried all they could to get them to not put that in. They didn't. What they did is they patterned it after cigarettes and liquor. You can't sell alcohol and cigarettes within 1,000 feet of a school, or within 1,000 feet of a school or a church. That's the law. And so they went and did the same thing. You understand? Medical marijuana, not recreational marijuana. But by doing that, they disenfranchised black people. Black people can't do nothing in Mississippi, Harlem. Not the ones that own businesses and everything already. How about I had already incorporated? I'm a member of 3MA, Mississippi Medical Marijuana Association. And the building that I sold half of, I can't sell anything there because I got a church in front of me, on the side of me, and then around and behind me. In the black community, there's a church on every other corner in the black community, even if they ain't got but one member. So you understand, this law is very unfair to the black community. Yes, I still voted for the Republicans. I'm gonna continue to do so. Black people going to Congress in the state of Mississippi just getting a paycheck. They don't have a voice. They might as well be dumb. They might as well just take their mouth up. They don't have a voice. They vote don't matter. They don't just have a majority in the House. They have a super majority. They don't need to talk to black people for that. They don't have just a majority in the Senate. They have a super majority. Then everybody, all the department heads, the lieutenant governor, the governor, everybody, secretary of state, everybody, Republicans. You might have one Democrat somewhere. It doesn't matter. So the Republicans run the state of Mississippi. And it's going to continue to be that way. We have the largest population of black folks in the state of Mississippi than any other state. Think about 38% of the people, of the population in the state of Mississippi is black. Just imagine what we would do if we would vote. But we don't vote. Yes, we're still slaves. Yes, I talked about it, and I'm going to talk about it again. We live in slave quarters. Yes, we do. We still eating the chitlins. We still eating the stomach. We still eating the brains. We still eating the guts. We still eating the feet, the tail, the ears, the mouth. See, during slavery times, slaves weren't fed. They were not clothed. They slept in a little raggedy shack, them the slave quarters, which was away from the main house. And so they would kill a hog. They cut the head off. They cut the feet off. They cut the tail off. They cut the ears off. They just left like a body with a head on it. And they threw all the rest of that stuff away. Black folks wasn't going to starve to death, and they took them guts and cleaned it out. They took the heart and ate it. They took the brain. They call that pork light. You can go to the store, they sell it, pork light. Guts, chitlins. That's the colon of the pig. The feet, the tail, the stomach. They call that hog maw, I think. Yeah. They do the same thing with cow. Mountain oysters, them bull nuts. They didn't eat all that stuff, but they eat all that now. How about chicken feet? Chicken neck. Some of the most expensive stuff you can buy now is the wings and the neck. That stuff, they almost give it away. They sell everything. They sell the gizzards and the liver. We had to eat all that because they didn't, but now everybody eat it. I said that to say this now, is that you still get fed chitlins and livers and kidneys and all that stuff. We're going to call it SNAP benefits. They still giving you free stuff. When you got free stuff, you ain't going to go out and earn nothing. When you don't have to pay rent, you're going to be complacent and stay there and not go out and do anything. If you got a refrigerator full of food and you got free air conditioning, free water, free place to stay, you're going to stay your butt up in there. You ain't going to take your ass out and go vote when it's time to vote. It ain't your fault. It's your mama's fault. It ain't her fault. It's her mama's fault. And I ain't gonna even get on you deadbeat dad. So we in disarray, but we can't fault nobody but ourselves. And we still lockstep in place, voting Democrat, 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 Democrat. We gotta break that damn cycle and let people earn. My vote is for sale. What you gonna give me for my vote? What is it that you gonna do for me? That ain't what I mean. I'm not talking about bribe. How is my life going to be better by me voting for you? I don't expect you to put your police force on me and charge me with trumped up charges. I didn't expect you to give me a damn $1 million bond. The fuck? Excuse me for cursing, folks. I can promise you that it's not indicative of my education. Sometimes my other self gets taken over, my other self, which is this self, which is a very educated self. I don't think that you should take a woman's choice from her. I think a woman should be able to have an abortion anywhere she wants to. It ain't hurt nobody but her. It's between her and the man that she's pregnant by, if she want to tell him. I don't think you should put a man in jail or a woman in jail or anybody in jail for DUI, DWI, whatever you want to call it. These are victimless crime. I don't think you should put anybody in jail for selling crack or selling weed or heroin or anything. Definitely shouldn't put anybody in jail for consuming it. These are victimless crimes. They ain't hurt nobody but themselves. You already know the world is overpopulated, so if they want to drink themselves till they die, that's them. They ain't killed you. You ain't bothered. Folks, do you realize how drugs would go down, how crime would go down if you was to decriminalize all drugs? All of them. And everybody in jail for that shit, let them out. The guy, that man, in jail, life without parole for his 4th DUI. Can you imagine you got rapists, murders, and robbers that go to jail and get out, and this man for his 4th DUI because under the habitual criminal statute, they gave him life without parole. Yes, I know what judge did it. No, I'm not going to talk about that. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that, in my opinion, it was being, I'll say, abuse of position. That's what I say it is. I think that we gotta stay right. You gotta watch Andy Griffith's show and see how that man ran that town. You got to take on the Andy Griffith persona. Sometimes you can't go so much by the book, but by the heart. But nobody deserves to be in prison for the rest of their life for DUI. They ain't killed nobody. They ain't have a wreck. And that's a subjective thing now. Do you understand that the machine has to be calibrated and every year, every 6 months to have an author? If it's not calibrated, do you know that they cannot use that against you in a court of law? What about the heel and toe dance? Oh, hell no. Wow. And I could go on and on, but I'm fixing to give you guys some things here. We're going to talk about this here. Then I'm going to close out. Your rights and responsibilities. You have a right to remain silent. Remember that. If you wish to exercise that right, say so out loud. You have the right to refuse to consent to a search of yourself, your car, or your home. If you are not under arrest, you have the right to leave calmly. Remember that. Your responsibility. Stay calm and be polite. Do not interfere with or obstruct the police. Do not lie or give false information. They get you with that. Prepare yourself and your family in case you are arrested. Remember the details of the encounter. Write it down. File a written complaint. If they do anything against you, file a written complaint. You have a right to film, photograph, or record the police. You have that right. Police officers may not confiscate or demand to view your cell phone, digital photograph, or video without a warrant. Let me say this again. Police officers may not confiscate, demand to view your cell phone, digital photographs, or video without a warrant. Remember that, so tell them no. Police may not delete your photograph, videos, or recording under any circumstances. Can they do that? You got to make sure you're not interfering, because if you interfere, they can order you to cease. So you have to make sure that you're not interfering. What to do if you're stopped for questioning. Stay calm. Don't run, don't argue, resist, or obstruct the police. Even if you're innocent or police are violating your rights, keep your hands where the police can see them, because you don't want to be a victim. And I said that. Ask if you're free to leave. If the officer say yes, calmly and silently walk away. Remember, ask her you're free to leave. Okay. If you're under arrest, you have a right to know why. If you're under arrest, you want to know why. And again, shut up. You have a right to remain silent and cannot be punished for refusing to speak. Remember that. You have a right to remain silent and cannot be punished for refusing to remain silent or not answer any questions. If you wish to remain silent, tell the officer out loud. Reason why you want to be loud, in case somebody else you want to hear. You should not say, it said, okay, now do not consent. Remember, do not never consent for them to search you, your person, or your vehicle. It doesn't matter what you think you might have, what they think you have. Don't never get consent for them to search anything. Whether or not you don't have anyone, you know ain't nothing. I ain't got nothing to hide. Don't let nobody pull that con game on you. They ain't got no right to search you. Stand under your rights. Stand under the banner of rights. It said police may pat you down your clothing if they suspect a weapon. You should not physically resist, but you have the right to refuse consent for any further search. Meaning that if they want to pat you down, they have a right to do that. Don't resist that. But you have a right to refuse to give consent to anything else, and make sure you say so. It's upon request, show police your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance. If a police stop your vehicle, what you want to do, stop the car in a safe place as quickly as possible. Turn off the car. Turn on the internal lights if it's at night. Open the window part way down and place your hands on the wheel. And upon request, show them what they ask you for. Both drivers and passengers have a right to remain silent. If you find yourself a passenger in a vehicle and you ask the police if you're free to leave, and if the officer say yes, come to get the hell up and get up out of there and go. Even if you're 100 miles from home, start walking. Somebody pick you up. If not you, it's good to be free. And I think that's pretty good. I enjoyed this, and I hope that it was educational, and I hope you guys learned things. I want to touch upon this a little bit. I had somebody call me the other day, and they was telling me that they had been pulled over by the police, and they was arrested. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this person here is dealing with something, maybe a family member, something like that, may have been arrested or was either um, involved in maybe someone losing their life. Now, this person wasn't involved with it, but a relative may have been charged with something like that. And because this case is ongoing and pending, I'm not going to call any names, but this person called me and asked me, he said, what are my rights? He said, do a police officer have a right to take my guns? I said, no. And folks, I'm going to tell you that police officers do not have a right to take your guns, but they do it all the time. They do it to us. I don't understand that. We're killing each other, but every chance they get, they take our guns. Is it because the Meridian Police Department is so underpaid that they have to take the citizens' guns? Now, and I'm not paraphrasing. I'm just going to call it like I see it. This person said that he had a total of 6 guns. He said he had receipts for all the guns. He said one of the guns was a stolen gun. And that gun, and the reason why I'm giving these details so that won't nobody think that I'm talking about other things. Um, uh, that gun was one of the guns came up stolen, but the person gave the Meridian police, the detectives or whomever, CID, whomever, gave them a receipt where he had bought the gun and he had a receipt. So now when you buy something and you got a receipt, you done your due diligence. If you have, like, say, the receipt with the person name, their phone number, and all their information on there, whether it's a car or anything. If you bought it from that person, you done your due diligence. They can't charge you with buying and receiving stolen property if you have a receipt for it. What if you bought it from Walmart and it's stolen? And they're gonna put Sam Walton in jail? 2 reasons. No, they're not gonna do it. Too much money. The other reason not gonna do it because Sam Walton is not living. But my point of it is that they done due diligence and they should have gave him his gun back. How about that? I'm told this guy said to the police officer, we're not giving you any of your guns back. See, now stealing is stealing. That's the reason why I'm on the side of the law. So I want to know is what is it that cities, what authority does any police department have on taking a citizen's gun? They don't have any authority. If you have a gun and it's in your name, you shouldn't have to show a receipt in the police department. If that gun is not reported stolen and the owner comes for that gun, that police officer that police department has a duty to give that gun back to the owner of that gun. Now, this person here is kind of like in a quandary because they feel like that if they was to, and you're talking about $5,000-6,000 worth of guns. So that he paid for out his own money, the guns in his name, and the police department don't want to give him the guns back, the Meridian Police Department. It seems that the Meridian Police Department has a habit of taking people's guns and not giving them back to them. And that's not right. It's not right at all. My son is in that situation. Um, I was charged with a felony possession of a handgun, and I was told that they were not going forward, that the state wasn't going to go forward with that charge, nor was the city of Meridian going to go forward with that charge. And my son been trying to get his gun back, and he can't seem to get it back. Now, can you imagine them telling him to go and get a receipt that Anderson asked me for almost 2 years ago? I didn't know it then, but I know it now. What Anderson was trying to do was trying to get a bill of sale or something in my name so that he can charge me with a felon with a handgun. And so, but now at that particular time, my son went to Thompson Pawn and Gun and got the receipt and gave it to him. And you know that they're asking him for a receipt. Now, how is it you're going to ask my son? So I'm talking about 2 cases where the Marine Police Department is keeping guns from Black citizens and not giving them back to them. And that's not right because these are young men. And my son worked at Walmart and he worked very, very hard, him and his fiance. He ain't got no money to get a Marine Police Department. But either way, they said they want to. How is it they're gonna ask my son to give them a gun? Hell, they done ran it on the NCIC. They know that the gun is in his name. My son is not wanted for anything. That's the first thing they did. They arrested him for something, a warrant that was from in 2019. And then, of course, he made it. He took all. He got that taken care of. And so, okay, well, bring us. We'll go. You can come get your gun. But when they go get it this time, well, you got to bring me a receipt. Well, hell, you know the damn gun is in his name. It's in his name. It's on the NCIC. His name is Octavius Hope. It's his gun. Damn it, ain't no other receipt other than that. It ain't reported stolen. He ain't reported stolen. But if you keep it and don't give it to him, then you're stealing it. This is the kind of shit that pissed me off about Meridian. And And I think it comes with training. I think it comes with people getting a badge on their damn chest or whatever, thinking that they're above the law and they can do whatever the hell they want to do. And in most cases, it seems to be like that. But that's where you come in at. You have a duty to vote. And you vote people's out of there that don't have your best interests at heart. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you for watching.